So most people believe that their level of intelligence or IQ is the greatest indicator of success in life. But is it scientifically true? Let's dive into the book Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman and find out what the truth really is. Let's first go into the labs of Walter Mischel back in 1960s in California. What they did was study 4-year-old kids. They got a group of 4-year-old kids and offered each of those kids one marshmallow. But then they gave them a test. They said, if you don't eat this marshmallow for 20 minutes, we will give you another marshmallow. Now what happened? Of course, some kids ate the marshmallow and some kids waited for the second marshmallow. Now the researchers followed these kids, and then 14 years later, they again tried to figure out what had happened to their lives, where were they today. Now, 14 years later, the kids who couldn't wait for their marshmallows, what were their SAT scores? So the average SAT scores of kids who couldn't wait for the second marshmallow, who just ate the first marshmallow, their average score was 1052, while the kids who waited for the second marshmallow, their average SAT score was 1262, almost 20% higher than the kids who couldn't wait. And not only that, these kids were more socially competent, could handle pressure better, and embrace challenges in life. So what was going on here? And here are the implications of the study, the marshmallow test, that these kids who were able to delay gratification, these kids had emotional intelligence. They were able to handle impulses. And being able to handle impulse is one of the most fundamental skills, psychological skills. They were able to delay gratification. They were able to deny impulses in order to serve their long-term goal. And that ability is crucial to long-term success. Now let's look at another component of emotional intelligence, which is the ability to handle defeats and challenges. Now in history, stories of all the great performances and achievements, and they're all laden with defeats and challenges and setbacks. Elon Musk was on the brink of losing both SpaceX and Tesla and going bankrupt in 2008. He rose from that setback to become one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our times. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, and then he rose from that humiliating setback to become one of the greatest basketball players ever. So these stories of rising from failure are what history is really made of. This is a very common theme amongst all great achievers. Now what's going on here? So what research is saying is that our achievement in life is not just a function of our level of intelligence or talent, but also a function of our capacity to withstand failures, setbacks, and defeats. Basically, it's our ability to handle defeats and challenges, ability to handle those tough emotions. And a sister concept to this is the idea of self-efficacy, which says that when you have self-efficacy, you have this feeling that you can handle life's challenges as they come. And that is crucial to emotional intelligence. Now let's talk about another really key component to emotional intelligence, which is your ability to handle pressure, handle anxiety. Now, if you follow sports, you've probably seen that some players perform really well under pressure while others just break down. They choke under pressure. What's going on here? Well, it is all about their ability to handle those tough external situations and regulate their emotions in those moments so that they can perform at their very best. Now, let me ask you, when do you perform at your very best? When there is very little pressure to do anything, or when there is too much pressure? Well, for most people, there is a peak performance somewhere in the middle. Not too little pressure, but not too much pressure. Some pressure is good, but too much pressure can be bad. And that optimal performance zone is where you want to be. Now, the key is that the elite players, the clutch players, they can stand in the face of pressure and regulate their emotions such that they get themselves in the peak performance zone. Even when there's too much pressure, they can get themselves in the peak performance zone. They don't let the situation dictate their emotional state. The external situation does not dictate how much pressure they feel, and hence they can do their very best. So now let's step back a little. So far, we've talked about 3 keys to emotional intelligence: your ability to handle impulses, your ability to handle defeats and challenges, and your ability to handle pressure and anxiety and nerves. What do they all have in common? They all have in common the idea of the ability to handle your emotions. And the ability to handle emotions only comes when you become aware of those emotions. The awareness of what is happening to you rather than being lost in it is crucial to emotional intelligence. That awareness is called self-awareness, also called metacognition, when you can be above the flow of experiences while you're experiencing those experiences. And that awareness of emotions as they come, as they go through you, is the ultimate key to emotional intelligence. And that awareness is the ultimate key to great performance in all walks of life.